Hello everybody. Today we will be finishing up our stop motion animated bouncing ball. I'm going to cover the software that I talked about last week, Stop Motion Studio, and show you my general process. Let's go ahead now. Normally you would press New Movie. I've already started one, so I'm going to go ahead and press that. This is the overview. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the camera options, and I'm going to go down here and I'm going to click on the three lines. And this is where I can change a lot of my settings for my camera. One of the things I want to do is I want to make sure my camera is in manual mode. That way I have control over the white balance, the focus, and all of that kind of stuff. As you can tell, it's pretty out of focus. Let's go ahead and get that into focus. And then we can do that just by clicking on the focus button and then sliding the focus bar until it looks good. We have options for ISO speed, and that is how much light reaches the sensor. A very low ISO, you're going to have a very dark picture. A very high ISO, it's going to have very washed out highlights. Depending on your situation, 400 or so is a great place to start with the aperture. I'm sorry, the ISO. Next is aperture. Aperture is how long, or the shutter speed is how long the lens is going to stay open for. 1/60th is the default. That means it's going to be open for 1 second. If you want to do long exposures, you can bring it all the way up to I think a maximum of 4 seconds. The last little option is for zoom. That looks pretty good like it is. I'm not going to bother with changing the zoom. So we'll just go ahead and hit new, done. Now here we are, ready to start shooting. So I'm going to be using this so I don't have to touch my camera. And I'm just going to click the button. And so now I've already planned out my animation. I know what I'm going to do with it. For this part of the video, I am going to do it as a time lapse. So we have finished animating our film. Now it's time to begin editing it. If we press the little play icon there, it is going to play our movie back for us. Let us preview it. And I can see that I've got a little bit of a problem at about frame, looks like maybe 48. It just shifts color just a little bit. So we're going to stop. And we're going to zoom in here until we find that particular frame. And you can tell as I scrub through that it's just not quite right. If I click on it, it's going to allow me to edit it in certain ways. I just want to delete it, so we're just going to get it out of there. Let's go ahead and hit playback again, see how that works. Wouldn't even know it was needed to be there in the first place. So I'm real happy with the playback. if I click on the gear, this is going to give me some additional options that I can change. There are filters that I can add. That's the third one from the end. I can also change the speed at which it plays back. Right now mine is currently set for 12 frames per second. These are different transitions that you can add. You can change the aspect ratio if you need to. You can add a foreground. Add filters. This is one you would want to set up obviously before. You could shoot in standard definition, high quality, or 4K. And then on the very last we have playback options. Mine is set to loop the playback. That way I can watch it over and over again. I'm going to go ahead and hit cancel. Right above the little gear is a little plus sign. If I click on that, that's going to allow me to add things. Let's go ahead and make sure that we are at the beginning of the animation. Wherever your playhead is, when you press the add button, that's where it's going to add that particular element. So let's grab some simple titles here. Titles and credits. They have quite a few different things to choose from. I'm going to do something very simple. We're just going to do this back to school one. And so now we have a stop motion and a stop motion studio film, back to school the movie. By double clicking on the element in the middle of the screen, I can change what it says. And we're just going to call this little animation the lab. Kind of can't get to my space bar. There we go. The lab. We'll say done. Okay. A stop motion studio film. The lab, the movie. Can't beat it, right? Next, I'm going to hit the back button. Now I want some audio in this, so I'm going to hit that plus sign again. There is audio built in that you get with the paid version. I'm not sure what all you get with the free version. So we have theme music. There we go. Let's go ahead and click on where it says theme music. Today's not Monday, but why not? Can't go wrong with that. So we're just going to go ahead and select this one. And so that should put it on the timeline for me. Let's go ahead and hit play and make sure. Okay. The key thing to remember is when you're adding elements to make sure that your playhead is where you want it to be. I'm going to go to the very end here and I'm going to add some applause sound effect. Okay, so I've added that last little bit of audio to the end of it, and then I had this little problem. It didn't play. That last frame wasn't long enough. So if I click and hold on one of these frames, it gives me the option to pause that frame. And so I can pause and it'll ask me how long do you want to pause it for. I'm going to pause that for about 15 and we'll say done. And now when I play, I should hear the clapping at the end. Real happy with that, real happy overall. So now we're going to go back to the beginning. We're going to click and hold. This little blue bar is going to pop up top. We're looking for this button right here. This is the share button. And this is how we're going to export out our movie. So say export movie. And then we can export it to any of these formats. Let's just go ahead and save as. Please choose an export format, so we're going to go 1080p. So when I saved that, it went ahead and it saved it to my Google Drive. Yours might be different. You should be able to save it to your device. But here's the finished movie. So I hope that you will embrace this technology. I hope you will spend the $5 to get it. It's going to make your life a lot easier. And I look forward to seeing what everybody makes. Happy animating.